Glad to be back to the OnStage podcast. We have a special guest today. We have Liza Lee Gioni Gambino. She's there to win it, and she's in it. And she's a Shelton resident to compete in Mrs. Connecticut American pageant on June 4th. And you are now, as you see, Mrs. CT American.
Yes.
And can you give us a little bit of a backstory of who you are? And we also have James A. Norkovich, multi-instruments, who's our on-stage co-host for tonight. So give us a little bit of background of who you are, Liza.
Hi. Thanks for having us, Chris. I really appreciate it. Liza from Shelton. I'm a longtime Connecticut resident. I'm a fitness trainer. I've been in the fitness world for about 21 years. So I'm all about empowering everyone to feel strong. And that's really why I got into the pageant. It was only about 3 weeks before the pageant, and one of my very closest friends, who's a professional makeup artist, had met the director on a set somewhere, and they became friends about 6 months ago. And so I get a text message about 3 weeks before the pageant, and with my girlfriend saying, if you want to do a pageant, she sends me the flyer. And I immediately picked up my phone and went, no, I don't have time for this. But she's like, yeah, Liza, but it's not about a beauty pageant. She's like, you've done a lot for people. You've volunteered over the years. You've done a lot in the community. This is more of what this pageant is about, right? This is a Mrs. America pageant, and it's about empowering women all across our nation, and then obviously in other nations as well. So I agreed to do it, and it was an amazing experience because I didn't go in there nervous and worrying about my dress, and I went in there and made friends and helped all the young girls because I was one of the oldest people in there. And I made a lot of friends, and it was an amazing experience. Not even thinking I was going to win anything. I just went in there and went, you know what? I'm almost 50 next year. I just got diagnosed with a heart condition, and I'm a fitness trainer. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go and roll with it, as Winwood, right? Words of Steve Winwood, as Jim just said earlier. And it was amazing to win on that stage, and just to look down at my daughters and my husband out there and said, you know what? All this hard work over the years, being a trainer, but also being involved in my community. I look forward to competing in the Nationals pageant in August, just to show that you can have an everyday mom from Connecticut just go in and try to pursue the dream of being Mrs. America.
That's awesome. So, did you have that dream since you were a little girl?
I think every little girl wants to be a princess or a queen. I'm just going to say it, right? Every little girl there is. I did a little pageant with I have a younger sister. She's 15 years younger than me. And when she was about 5 and I was 20, I said, let's go do something together. So her and I did like a little local pageant together. And it was fun. But I remember even I'm 20, she's 5. Looking and going, wow, this pageant world is hard. The hair, the makeup, the dress, the outfits, the prep work, the walking, the shoes. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. So we just did it for fun, and we won a couple little trophies and things like that. And that was it. I kind of just stepped away from that just because, it wasn't my passion, right? But like I said, the Mrs. America pageant is a little different because it's about women in general. It's not just about going up there and looking pretty. It's about what you do for the world. And I love that. And the Mrs. America pageant's been around since 1938, empowering women since then. So I think it's one of the longest running pageants in history. So it's an amazing experience.
That's quite amazing. How did your heart condition affect your opportunity to want to be a Mrs. Connecticut?
It hasn't. It hasn't. Because I'm so physically fit, I'm managing. Like I said, this is a very new heart condition that I just got. The doctors are a little stumped, and they're like, I don't understand how a perfectly healthy person, like there's nothing wrong with me at all. From no high blood pressure, no medical history, nothing. It's like a freak thing, right? But because I'm so healthy, I'll probably manage it pretty good as long as I stay healthy. But that's another thing that people have to realize, that healthy people all the time get sickness and get things wrong with them, just like a heart condition, right? You wouldn't think, over the years I was having little things wrong, and the doctors were like, she's a fitness trainer, she can run up and down. I mean, I teach some hardcore classes, and they were like, oh, you're fine. And they finally found some weird tests on an EKG, and They were like, wow. So what I'm trying to tell the world is you can stay physically active, but you can also help yourself live longer by staying healthy, right? So people just think, oh, I have a I have a health condition, whatever it is, heart, lung. Oh, I'm just going to give up. So I always tell people all the time, you can live, a long time if you really think about staying healthy, and that's what I'm trying to do now because, what other choice do I have, right? But I'm just trying to show the world that you can live through something like this.
Yeah, and you wake up in the morning, you thank God you have that new day
Another
now
day,
to
another
yeah
day.
to be successful in the day. You got kids, you got a husband,
Yes.
and of course they're there for you and want to push you along. What do you think, James?
I know she's kind of the one of the hardest working people in show business, so to speak. Um, you know, being able to juggle for a schedule that goes probably from 5 o'clock in the morning to 7, 8 o'clock at night, and still has that endurance energy, and it says a lot to everything that she stands for and is passionate about, from fitness, the music to engaging people into whatever they love, whatever they enjoy. Really, just to be your best, be the best you that you can be. Don't settle for second best. Don't settle for failure. Settle for setting yourself up to this highest bar. And I, it's because I've known her a long time that it's someone that truly inspires other people to be a better version of the person than they are already. And when you have someone like that, in your whether on the phone or or through a class or just in person, that it gives you the extra chutzpah, so to speak, to go, hey, something, you know, I I I I I, I hear what she says, and it's just truly inspirational. And you really don't find a lot of people in today's society. Everybody's more self-absorbed, and it's about me, and and that's all it's going to be, is about me. That's why giving of yourself, giving of your time, giving of who you are, I think is um, truly the key to happiness and the key to success.
Yeah.
Um, Wonderful answer, Liza. You're this Mrs. Connecticut pageant incorporates panel style interview with 5 judges, which accounts for 50% of participants' score. Now, I've seen the Miss America pageants. I know that they always judged in either evening gown, swimsuit, and
Yeah.
a final question encompassing
Yes.
being a wife in today's world. Now, do they give you questions like um, that? Okay? Would your answer be like world peace? Would they give you a
Yeah.
question like that? No.
Yeah.
What kind of question would they give you?
So some of the questions they even asked. So the question they asked me at my pageant, that final question for the state pageant was, "What's my favorite charity?" Right, and why? Right. So what being someone in this pageant world, you have to have something that you believe in, right? Other questions they asked, but what are you going to do with the pageant? How are you going to promote the pageant? Like, how are you going to tell women that this is not just a beauty pageant? Um, some of the questions they asked about they'll flip. They'll go, if you had a problem in your marriage, what would your advice be to other women, right? So they go kind of all over with the questions. So it's not just about the world today. Like one of the questions, like say for the Miss pageants, because we have a Miss and a Mrs. They talk more about social media, the things that affect them. But the Misses, they talk about the day, the world today. And I liked one of them that they asked, if you had to give somebody advice on just relationships, things like that, what would you say? Right. So it's kind of goes about who you are. So say charity, right? To who you are as a Mrs. and a mom and a wife. Especially with
Yes.
the divorce rate, it is what it is, right? So,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
what kind of advice can you give? And in me being, I'm on my second marriage. I've been with my husband 10 years. I have a lot
Wow.
of advice to give. What went wrong before, or even what went wrong in your previous relationships, and how to be better for yourself, right? Instead of being like, oh, my ex was XYZ. All right, cool. What can I do now to be a better wife, mom, friend, things like that? So I like that the questions that they have are really talk about life for us as misses.
So with your hair condition, does it affect your fitness? Does it affect how
No.
you work out? Does it affect, no?
That's what's really strange about it. And somebody was just asking me about this. Like last night, I exercise 7 days a week. I almost said 8 because it feels like 8 sometimes, right? It doesn't bother me in activity, which also stumps the doctors. I can teach a high intensity, what we call HIIT class, to Pilates, to weight training, spinning, whatever it is. It's when I'm at rest. So as soon as my body rests and my heart rate comes down, that's when I'll have, like, say, an AFib episode or something like that. But the more that I monitor it and the more that I just watch everything that I'm doing, like no alcohol, try to have very little caffeine, things like that, those are helpful to have less episodes. So, but exercise doesn't affect it at all. Strange.
This person in rest does not exist. I'm just
So it doesn't. So my episodes don't come along that much because I haven't been resting much.
So it's not like you have to take statins, do you?
No, and they can't. The problem is, the cardiologist is one of my very best friends' husband, very good friend of the family. He's like, I can't really give you meds. He goes, your blood pressure typically is 100/60, and your resting heart rate is 61. Anything you give me is going to lower my blood pressure, and you can't have that, right? Not with, me being so healthy.
Well,
I
don't
guess
know
we go to the doctor.
Miss Connecticut went down, right? Yeah, so it's, they're doing more tests. They're trying to figure out what's causing the issue. But they said, we can't really medicate you right now. So right now I have a 30-day, you can't see it through here, that's it. I have a 30-day Holter monitor to record any episodes of AFib that I have.
Well, I had a medical emergency down, and thinking that in December, my blood pressure was 192/111. I know, and I thought I was having a heart attack here, so I had to Uber myself down. I know, why didn't you call an ambulance? Well, they're not that quick. Ubers are quicker.
A little quicker. Yeah.
So I Ubered myself down, and instead of telling me, oh, yeah, your blood pressure is very high, but we'll change your diet, whatever. But we do have blood pressure medication. They went immediately to that blood pressure medication.
A lot of them do.
They don't even suggest diet. So I know you probably don't watch Dr. Berg, but I watch a lot of Dr. Berg videos and about how to control blood pressure. And basically it's changing your diet, getting rid of salt and sugar. And I went from 223 down. Now I weigh 189 now. I lost 34 pounds of keto. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my blood pressure is very low and everything. So I'm pretty happy.
Right. It's about health. So one of the biggest things for me in fitness is I tell people, fitness isn't about having a six-pack. Not at 50, right? Would it be great? Sure. Do I have kind of a six-pack? Kind of, right? But it's not about that, right? It's about health and moving forward and being strong. So I tell people, forget these stigmas you have with fitness, thinking, fitness is only for the skinny people, right? Fitness is about being able to get through things like this. So you had to get yourself healthy to be able to live, right? Because what would have happened? You would have either just went, you know what, I'm just going to eat what I want, do what I want, and I'm going to take blood pressure meds. And the problem with that, blood pressure meds, cholesterol meds, they're all fine and good, but they don't change anything, right? They don't change what's going on in your body. They don't change the fact that you could have a clogged artery. They don't change the fact that you could have a heart attack. They keep it down, but if you have a clogged artery, which is causing cholesterol issues, blood pressure issues, those meds aren't going to help you. They're just going to keep your blood pressure down to kind of a low, make the problem kind of be a little better for now. But you have to change. Same thing with weight loss in general. People will go have the gastric bypass, which I think it's great. People say, you know what, I'm going to make a change. I need a little help. They lose 100 pounds and then they gain back 150. You have to change.
And I think
it's always easy, but I'm sure. Let me tell you something. Being healthy feels damn good, though.
Yeah, it does, definitely.
And I was gonna interject the fact that and when you have a healthy body, it's also a healthy mind, as you know, and how kind of tying this all in is we came out of COVID, or we're in COVID, and everybody didn't want to be with one another, right? And then and then all of a sudden we go back out into the land of the free, home of the brave, and we're in masks and doing this and doing that, and yet mental illness is extremely real, and that's another thing. If you're down and depressed, you're just giving up on everything, including taking care of your own physical well-being, and that's kind of where both our platforms meet, I think, so to speak. And this pageant, gives Liza the ability to speak on a platform which and help people in a way that is, you just honestly couldn't do it in an everyday situation. I mean, you can, but realistically, just to go to somebody and say, hey, I think you've got a problem, let me help you. You know how far that's going to go, right?
Right.
So it's a unique platform to get people that are important, people that are key players, and they begin to take what you have to say more seriously than rather in the everyday real world. I mean, we can talk amongst each other and say, hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? Take each other's advice, right? But when you're on that platform, on the main stage, so to speak, or on stage, no pun intended, you have an ability to speak and talk about it, and then that's where this event coming up is so pivotal and so meaningful.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like your quote here. It said, why, when they asked you why you were doing the pageant, you said, I am inspired to do this pageant to empower others to dig deep and truly love themselves enough to see their own beauty, to feel that you are enough in this crazy world, and to find their peace. So as a fitness trainer and nutritionist, and you empower others to be strong in mind and strong in body, what do you tell others who are trying to compete with you for the crown? Do you usually try to help them with their training, or help them with their nutrition, or do you just like leave them alone and let them do their own thing? Like, how does it work for you when you're with a bunch of these ladies who are vying for the crown?
It's funny, these ladies. So right now we're all in a group chat because they're from all over the country. So from all 50 states, we're in a group chat on WhatsApp, and you should see us all day long. We're sending each other pictures, and we're talking about this one and this one's kid, and we're talking about corny things we're gonna do when we get to Vegas together. So remember, these are a bunch of moms, pretty much, right? Wives. I think most of them are moms. A lot of them mentioned kids, right? And we're having fun, like being in a parade, right? And we're just, to us, it's different than the miss pageants, right? So these young, 20, 30-year-olds that's their dream. They want to be a model. They want to, could I be a model at 50? I guess, right? But like for me, that's not what's important. And that's the thing that's great about this. Whether win or lose, we spent this time now getting to know really what we want to do for ourselves in the future, and what the platform that we're speaking of, right? And then we get to share this with all these 49 other women in the country, and then they get to share that with the people that they know, right? So for us, we're like I said, we're on this group chat, and it's all day long, right? Everyone's chatting, and we're doing different like corny stuff and getting to know each other, and like what's your favorite color, and why is it your favorite color? But it's so silly. It's like kind of like we're in kindergarten getting to know each other, but it's great because, like I said, we're just a bunch of moms.
Well, now that you won the crown, how about going back to specializing in Pilates and currently working for the Club Pilates franchise studios? Do they recognize you? They say, "Yeah, Liza, you won!" Woo, woo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it's funny. Like I went into my first class that I taught. So my pageant was on a Sunday, and so the next day, June 5th, I was in Westport at Club Pilates, and I went in like this, right? I have this on, and they're like, "Did you win?" I'm like, What is
Really?
it? Give a crown to everybody, right? And they were
What do you
like,
think? I
"Oh my
stole
God!"
it?
Right? And so I wore it for one time per club. So I teach it Westport, so I saw it one day, and then I saw it in New Canaan, and same thing. Did you win? I'm like, oh my God, I have a crown on. But they were like overjoyed. And one of the clubs I teach at twice. So in Westport, I teach Monday and Wednesday. I showed up on Wednesday. They're like, "Where's your crown?" One of the ladies is like, and I just had met her the previous week. She's like, "You need to wear that every day." And I'm like, "Okay, Kim, simmer down." They've like, I mean, and I have a lot of clientele, even from my own clients to all the Club Pilates clients. I mean, I have a lot of clientele, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And the older they get, the more they're like, "Oh my God, I love it. I told all my friends," and they're posting me on their like Instagrams and Facebooks. And it's so cute. I love it. I love it. Right? Because again, when you're 30, you're like, "Oh, you're 30, right? You have this nice body and you're going to be a model pageant winner." But when you're this age, people are like, "Oh my God, I love it." And I've gotten a lot of great, I'm sure you've seen some of it, Jim, great responses from people, friends, clients, just about who I am. Because, sometimes you think you're like, "Oh, I'm a good person," or things like that. But when you hear it, like the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 comments on everything that I post, like, "It couldn't happen to a better person. You have the biggest heart in the world. Like, I cannot wait to see what you do next," kind of comments. And I'm just like, I love it. Like, you really, for me, it confirms everything that you think about yourself, right? So sometimes you think you're a good person, but like, but are you? But people have shown on social media that I have this heart, and I love sharing my love with the world. And anybody that knows me will tell you that. But it's just nice to hear it back, right? Just like, you tell a kid they did a good job at school. It's nice to hear it, because when you get older, you don't hear it so much, right? People aren't complimenting you like they are when you're 5 and you ate your dinner, right? So
Well,
it's been great, really great.
when they asked you the question, being a wife in today's world, what was your response?
Well, I wasn't asked that question for me, but my question was a charity.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as being a mom, and I mean being like a missus in today's world,
Mm-hmm.
it's different. But I'm very old school. I mean, Ginoni Gambino, right? I mean, I'm kind of old school, right?
Yeah.
I'm, believe me, my husband will tell you, I am the biggest alpha they come, but I'm also the corniest little Italian wife, right? So I make my husband dinner every day. I pack his lunch. I make sure he's got protein bars. I call him up, make sure he ate at work, and I clean the house. But my husband's great. So because I do all those things, he's the best husband ever, right? He really is. He's like, "Don't, I'm going to take out the trash." I'm like, "Oh, I don't even know who you are, but okay." Right. And it's really giving of yourself to your spouse, but finding a spouse that's going to
Mm-hmm.
give of themselves back to you. Right. So that it's hard, especially when I've been through a divorce already. How do you know how to be a good wife? Well, you have to learn. But for me, the more you give of yourself, so that person really, really, truly knows all of you, it's easy to have a good marriage if you know what you're dealing with. Right. Really? I think
Yeah.
sometimes people don't know who that other person is. And maybe like 5, 10, 15 years later, they figure it out. They're like, "Oh, this is who you are." So,
Okay. So I don't want to get into relationships, but you said you were in your second marriage. Now I'm reading here about um, it's not about having a six pack or a perfect body. It's about being strong enough to fight the battles in life and to truly love yourself. What does it mean to love yourself?
that's been a long battle for me. I got to say, I was a child of an alcoholic mother, so I was
Wow.
taken from her when I was young, and I lived with my grandparents. And my grandmother was the best, but she wasn't my mother. So as a little girl, again, you was only a princess. You always want all these nice things. I slept on my grandmother's couch for years, and it was hard. I remember I was telling Jim some of these stories a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I didn't really know that about you. I didn't really share that about myself. But I think sharing your story has a lot to do with who you are. But I'm going on the path now. But to love myself was a challenge, right? Because the person that's supposed to love you the most is your mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always be like, I'm fine, and my family was a little concerned because I was almost too fine, right? So the problem is that you start to have these abandonment issues you don't even realize you're having, right? So as I got older, got in relationships, you get into these relationships wanting them to almost replace that love that you didn't have, right? But you never actually fill that void that you have with you because you're not recognizing that. So as I got older, fitness really helped me because it made me feel strong. But I couple that with meeting my husband. I mean, Jim knew when I met my husband years ago. He understood that void because he had a father in the same scenario, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, right. So when I met him, he understood me. I understood him. So he gives me all the love that I've ever needed. I don't feel devoid of love anymore. I just don't, because and my ex husband was like, you're needy. You always want, you always feel like you need love or kisses or hugs or like, first of all, what's wrong with hugs and kisses and stuff, right? But my husband is like, you don't seem needy to me at all because I give him what he gives me, and so now I feel loved because now that void is filled because someone loves me unconditionally. And I never had that. And that was hard. But, and then the fitness aspect of it, like I said, couples right along with my husband's a fitness person too. He loves to work out. He's not for his living, but when you feel strong, you feel good about you. When you feel good about you, that's more of you can love. So for me, I'm strong. I'm empowered. I feel good about myself. And between my husband and the fitness, I finally have a loved Liza.
And I think it's also that communication that not only that they have together, but from day one, because she actually asked me, so what do you think of him? And it was like literally the first time she was meeting her husband for the first time, and I was on my
Double
first physical double date with my
Yeah,
wife. So
right.
you
Right. He met
know,
his
and
wife. We on a double date together.
so we saw the communication, and when that gels in whether it's with music, with fitness, it has to happen. It's like a good collaboration. When
Yeah.
you've got that communication going and you got everything moving, there isn't any unequivocal question that this is how things are supposed to be. And you know, and when she shared her story with me, again, I did not know one iota of
Yeah.
what what someone truly goes through, and and that's kind of the state of the world that we're in right now. We don't know the silent sufferers and what they're going through, and you know how, and they want to get out of what they're suffering,
Yeah.
but some are using means of self preservation. And I mean, it's great if it's healthy, but when it's not healthy, that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where this fundraiser is all about.
What about you, James? What do you think to love yourself is all about?
I think it's, you have to be happy with who you are and accept that you're not perfect, because no one is. And you have to realize that, okay, in order for me to be a better, in my case, a better husband to my wife, I've got to have open and honest communication. I have to be willing to do things that there are these stereotypical male roles that our society has, and it's universal. And I was blessed to have parents who never conformed to those roles. It was like, whoever gets the job done, whoever does what they need to do, gets it done, and end the story. And again, communication. Um, you know, always. There's a saying that got this sign in our home. It's always kiss me goodnight. Never be afraid to share how much you love someone. And this is whether it's a spouse, a child, a parent, anyone. I mean, never not just take the extra moment to just, to say how you feel and what you need and what you don't need.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Is there a stipulation if that you would lose your crown, or do they allow you to take it everywhere you go, or do you have to wear it all the time, or?
It's kind of, what you want to do with it, right? So for me, it's, the crown is good for special events and, things where I'm doing an appearance at, right? I'm not really wearing it to the store. Right? I probably could, right? My younger daughter, she's just turned 17 a couple weeks ago, and she's like, you don't have to wear that thing everywhere. But yeah, there's no stipulant, right? I just think it's good for when you're going somewhere to speak and things like that. You want to present yourself as a, member of the Mrs. America pageant. So you want to make sure you're always, present yourself well.
I don't think.
Go ahead.
I don't think it would fit us, Chris.
Thing is heavy.
It's not real diamonds, is it?
It's Swarovski crystals.
Oh,
Very
really?
Heavy. It's really heavy. It's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. These things heavy.
Is it held? Is it held in by pins?
It's got two little combs, two little mini combs. They just stick in your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
very
super.
heavy. I have to bring it
Yeah,
up.
I was told that you're into music as well. Can you give us a little bit of a background?
I was. So that was the one thing. The one good memory of my mother I had was when I was very, very little. She wanted me. I don't know how I even started. Like, we used to probably sing around the house when I was very, very little, right? And right before I left her to go live with my grandmother, she's like, sing. You know what I mean? Like, because I used to watch Annie, the movie Annie, right? So the sun will come out tomorrow. And then I'd watch Wizard of Oz, which what little girl back in those days, child of the 70s, didn't love the Wizard of Oz. So I would sing some of these songs, and she'd be like, sing them again, sing them. And I'd be like, why does she keep making me sing these songs over and over and over? And I remember I tried out for choir. I went to Catholic elementary school, K through 8, and then, went on to Catholic high school. And I tried out for choir, but because I have a little bit of a raspy voice, more so now, they thought for sure I'd be like an alto. So that's the way they wanted me to try out. And I tried out, and they're like, no. So I was like, I'll show them. So my mother's like, go ahead, sing. So I would sing and I'd sing and I'd sing. And then the following year, I went out and I tried out again for chorus. And Mr. Brailsford was his name. It's like, I can't believe I remember this. Mr. Brailsford said, did you have singing lessons? I'm like, no, I'm just singing in soprano, not alto. And I used to hit these high notes. My mother used to make me sing, Memory from Cats by Barbara Streisand. And I'd be singing. So then even once I left her, I was in chorus in school, and I loved it. Like, I loved it. I really thought I was going to be a singer at some point in my life. And I used to sing with some local bands in town in Connecticut. And then I had a bad female surgery, and they did a whole bunch of oopsie stuff, and they jammed the respirator down my throat and damaged. Yeah. But it was either that or died, right? So I guess it was fine. But they damaged my vocal cords, and they had it's called an intubation granuloma on my throat. So I had this instant raspy throat, like raspy voice, which could be good, but then I couldn't sing. Like, I can sing a little bit, but if I try to sing, say, a couple songs, my voice will be gone, right?
Oh.
And I can't sing soprano anymore, right? So my voice is very like, it's not really alto, but I can't sing high. And the thing that I had looked forward to in my life when I was a little girl, my grandmother, and on the Irish side, I do have some Irish in me, right? So I have an Irish grandmother, and that song, Tura Lura Lura. So my mother used to sing it to me, and again, I was like 5 last time I probably heard her sing it to me, but I always wanted to sing that song to my children, but I couldn't. So I would try to sing some of the kids. As I got a little older, they'd be like 7 or 8. They're like, Mom, why don't you try sing that song again? And they start giggling, the two of them under the covers. Then I try and I think, some days if I had a lot of tea or really things that would soften my throat, I could. But yeah, I can belt out a song or two every once in a while, like like a pop song that doesn't require any high or low talent, right? But I love music, and I for a while there I was writing music. I really thought I wanted to be a singer, but it's fine. I'm a fitness trainer, and I love that too. And I sometimes I'll sing a note while I'm teaching class.
Yeah, that's sad because
Good job, Liza.
James and I have a mutual friend named Tyrone, and he had a vocal accident, and he had the operation 5 months, and to the point where he might have almost lost his voice. But he has a very good, perfect, awesome tenor voice. Is there's no chance that even taking like vocal lessons could restore that soprano path?
I was just thinking that probably about 6 months ago. I'm thinking to myself, if I really try, maybe my friend Jim can help me out here a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to help with the music and stuff. I have no clue.
I have no idea.
There you go. You have someone right there.
Music
James
in us, right? I used to be a clarinet player when I was young. My daughter over COVID taught herself how to play piano. She can sing, she can play classical music. Just does. So it's definitely in us, right? We definitely have some. And my grandmother on the Italian side, she used to sing at church. And I remember singing in church with her and just loving to sing at church, because all those songs are so ornate. And so but that was fun for me because most kids are like, turn the page and here's me singing with grandma, right? And I loved it. I'm just going to show her how good a singer I am. Singing the church songs on Sunday, right? In St. Patrick's Church in Bridgeport, where Jim knows, right? Yeah, but maybe one day.
Yeah, you never
There's
know.
no talent involved in my pageant, so I won't have to worry about prepping for that.
You're like the Jacqueline of all trades.
I really, totally. Jim and I, that's why we're friends. We would if you tell us something I've done that, or I used to do that, or I used to work in that, or
yeah.
We're well-rounded. We're gonna call it that.
A typical conversation is anywhere from 3 to 28 hours on the norm. So, But that's again, that's the beauty of like I said, with I think the relationships we're in now, the way music is now, the way the world is now, if you just step back and kind of just open up and just begin to share everything that you have to offer. You'll see it's not such a bad, scary, mean place. I for one do not watch the TV, the news. I know it's horrible, but if you haven't, I think I'm speaking for Liza when I say this. You have because she doesn't have a negative mindset. If you have that negative Debbie Downer mindset, and you go into everything saying, I can't do it. I'm going to fail at it. You're only going to fail if you don't try, and she's one person that definitely, she goes above and beyond. So when you say, I can't do, she's one of those people who will stand in your face and tell you 40 reasons why you can. And that's why you need
C word doesn't exist. I tell people I don't even say that word. I call it the C word.
Yeah. It's,
I tell people turn I can't into maybe I can tomorrow, or if not today, then tomorrow, or I will try to do that. I always tell people to change that. Always. When they say that C word, no, I tell them you got to say it another way. And they go, oh, Liza. But then in your head, you say, I can't do something. You're psyching yourself out already. Or if you say, you know what? I'm going to try again tomorrow. Or maybe it's not my day today, right? But then it changes your mindset because the C word's no good. No good. We say in my studio, especially, there's no such word as can't. It's like my mantra. in everyday life. It takes you in everywhere, not just fitness, right? Not just I can't do a plank for 9 minutes to whatever it is in your life. You have to think about, well, how am I going to get there? Right? And it's hard sometimes, but if you have your right mindset, you will definitely go farther in whatever you want to do in your life.
Well, you got a lot of accolades. It also that you donate blood every 59 days.
Yes.
I don't know if at the Red Cross. My father used to volunteer at the Red Cross. Now, I was actually watching a documentary on the different blood types, and there is one blood type called the golden blood, and it's very rare. And any blood that is administered to you can kill you, so they have to kind of go create their own donor blood. And if anything goes wrong, they have to get their own blood because
Right.
type O and type golden blood, and it's ridiculous. And but here, when you donate blood, you don't get paid for it. But in the States, I think they do. Don't they pay you for giving blood in the States? Really?
No.
That's different.
And I don't like having my blood taken, so there you go.
Yeah. No. So when I had that surgery years ago, that's what made me donate because they oopsie, like I said. So 11 liters of blood. So your body has typically around 5 units of blood, right? With those little bags, right? 11. So yeah. You know how many people had to donate? I'm O positive. So I had to get someone either O positive or negative. So you're not giving me O negative because that's
rare.
Right. So O positive. But another thing about my blood that once I found this out, then it was like the sweet spot for me to have to donate is I'm what's called CMV negative. It's a virus it's just a virus. So one of these many, many viruses that we have, CMV, and 85% of Americans roughly have the virus, which is, it's usually typically dormant. It's not something you should worry about. But when they give blood to babies, it has to be free of this virus because then they'll get the virus right away. You may get the virus later on in life when you're 20, 30, 40, never. So you don't want to just start a baby out with the virus, right? So I am O positive and CMV negative. So every time I donate, so if I donate 5 or more times, and I've done this many times, I have all these certificates in my kitchen, donate to babies. I'm a hero for babies. Love it. So for me, as soon as I found that out, sold. Forget it. Every 59 days. Yep. So for the pageant, I donate a week before I leave.
Yes, of course.
I can't miss.
So how long are you allowed to be Mrs. American? Only a year, or did they give you 5 years? 1 year?
1 year.
And then you have to hand over the crown to someone else. You can't
win
two.
This is my crown.
It's your crown. Okay.
They used to do that. They used to hand these crowns. No, they don't do that anymore. You keep your sash, you keep your crown. They get a new one. Right. But I'm going to be involved in the pageant. The director, Tracy Brank, she's amazing. She's from Greenwich. And I'm definitely going to be helping because I think, and I already started talking to people. I have a couple people that said they would even do it already. Help recruit because I think it's a fun experience for women. I really do. Especially if you as, a mom, an older person think, I can't do this. It's a pageant, right? It's about empowering other women in whatever aspect it is in the world. So if you have something to offer the world, go ahead and show them. And like Jim said earlier, we're on a bigger platform to be able to do that, right? It's not just here. I'm living in Shelton. The people in Shelton will know me. If you have something to give to the world, give it to the world, not just because you've been given a gift. Whatever it is, you've been given a gift to the world. So I think you have to use that gift all over, not just, in your own backyard. I think it's something that you have to do for yourself because, God gave you that gift, whatever it is.
Well, I want to talk about your time in previously working in advertising and sales at companies included Hearst, Connecticut, and Media Group. And then you had that surgery, and then you had to do something totally. Was there a lot of stress in that job?
A little bit. So I started in college. So I spent all my summers in college doing it. My uncle and aunt had worked for the Connecticut Post newspaper. So I did a lot of paid internships over my summers going to college. I was a business major. So I really thought I was going to have a guaranteed job when I got out. I did not. But the New Haven Register just scooped me right up because one of the managers had moved over there. So my resume just got right to the top of the list because I had all that training, right? So why bet, what better applicant than someone that spent all her summers in college doing it? So I started out in the New Haven Register. I did very well. But again, it is high stress, and it was hard because here I was, obviously I can talk, right? So that's great for sales. So I won every contest, did everything that was given the best territory, and people were like growling at me. I was like, but for me, like if you're gonna do something, whatever it is, whether it be your work, your volunteer work, whatever it is, cooking, fitness, I want to do it to the best of my ability. So I went in there, guns up blazing, goes, I'm gonna kick butt, and I did, and I loved it, right? And then I left there. I did some tech sales for a little bit because that world gets a little much, right? It's a lot of. I was in sales, so I was outside sales or running around, but I liked it. It was great. And then I got recruited back to the Connecticut Post. They're like, "Ooh, she's available. Let's snatch her back up." So I worked there for a couple years, and that's when that surgery happened. And it just wasn't, it was hard. It was a hard situation because I was out for 9 weeks. And they didn't want me to work from home, which I totally could have because I was at that point, I was an internet sales manager. And it felt like they were just almost mad that I was out, which is kind of sucky, right? Because I was good at my job. And then so, when I walked into a gym on a sales call, and he said to me, when I was still working for the Post, he said to me, "You want a job?" And I went, "Clearly, have a job." And he said, "I need someone to do sales a couple times a week. You're obviously great at it, and it comes with a free gym membership." Well, remember back in 90s, early 2000s, how much gym memberships were, right? For your average, I'm not talking just Equinoxes of the world, right? Your average Joe Schmo gym, Fitness Edge, what I belong to over here in Connecticut, was $60 a month. So I'm like, right? He's like, free gym membership with it, just saying. And I went, okay. So I started working twice a week in fitness, just in sales, right? 3 weeks into my job, somebody calls out of a spin class. Now I've taken one spin class ever, mind you. So the owner comes over and says, Liza, you got to teach spin. No, clearly I'm a salesperson. I want to go get to somebody, right? Am I busy? There's somebody for me to go talk to. He goes, no, there's nobody here. So I went down there. The personal training director was down there. She's like, she put a CD in. The lady was on the CD. She made it. Puts a CD in. She's like, I have a client. Warms him up on the spin bike. Says, see ya. I got to go. And I was like, hi. Rest is history.
I never even knew that.
My boss paid for all my training. I became, not only was I the head of the spin department within like a month, I became a trainer, kickboxing instructor, aerobic instructor, and I was the head of sales and marketing. So I had used all my business in fitness. So every gym I've ever been at, I was always part of their marketing, sales, management, and, so I still use my business background, even though, I'm in fitness now. I'm always a manager everywhere, which is because of the business part. So I hung up my high heels for a set of Nikes.
How do you deal with anxiety and stress, especially when you're confronting all those people watching you to become Mrs. American? Like, what do you do? Do you do exercises?
I'm not about it.
No.
Jim and I are doing a fundraiser together. That is stressful. Being up on stage, it's not stressful to me because it's, for me, like I said, when I did the local pageant, it wasn't really, like at first I sat down like, oh, I'm nervous, right? And then I went, why get nervous? I'm only going to be this pretty, right? I'm only going to be, this dress is only going to be this color, right? It is, you just got to go ahead and just go be yourself. And that's really what it is, right? And that's what it should be, right? So people come to me and like, we're talking about it, and I'm just like, what's stressful? The paperwork, right? Or, I got to get my photos uploaded. That's stressful. Holding a fundraiser for the state of Connecticut, stressful. But as far as the pageant itself, I'm going to have 9 days in Vegas, no children, no dogs, cleaning, no cooking. Who can be stressed about that?
And I don't know if this will stay in here, but after my mom passed in 2011, I was, in a funk for a couple of years. And one night, Liza goes, "Hey, just come out with me. This band's playing. You're gonna enjoy it, right?" And you remember it wasn't that long ago, but the funny part was the place had to have at least 300 or 400 people. And, I'm feeling out the vibe. She knew the band, starts talking to the band, gets up there and starts getting on the mic like, it's like Cher was just right behind the microphone. It was effortless. It was just, and then I'm going, I used to be able to do that. So, and that I really, really owe her a major gratitude of thanks, because it helped me to, I guess, she helped me to realize the fact that, I mean, of course my mom wasn't here, but it wasn't the end of things. And so what I needed to do was, pick my rear end up off the ground and start to look at everything that's inside of me. And that's the God to honest truth, because, I mean, you look at 2014 and you look at 2022. And I think, so far the resumes, they just don't match. It went from, it was all there back in 2014, but it took all that time to go, hey, you know something? Boom. And that, that's my own little testament to her. She really, wait, hold on here. I didn't even want to go in, I think. And she literally like grabbed me by the collar and said, "Listen, we're going." And it's just, and I, at that point, I didn't know what to say. I was halfway in the building already, and there was no fear.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes the things that you play in your mind, and when it takes a good old fashioned whack across the head to say, "I told you so."
Yeah.
So as a personal, I haven't said it in 9-10 years. I thank you for that. And then of course, I hope to see her uptight on this event on the 29th, which is going to be
fundraiser. Yeah.
It's going to be held in Fairfield, Connecticut, in a home that is what 200-300 years old.
Yeah, historical home. Yeah, so it's Connecticut historical site. It was Jonathan Sturges. He's one of the wealthy families from Connecticut. And this is like such a meaningless little piece of information, but they had indoor plumbing before the White House did.
Wow.
Ow. Right, and they still have the original bathroom in there, in the house. So I'm holding it on their property. So a fundraiser for Victoria's Voice Foundation. So the family, David and Jackie Siegel, that host the pageant. So David Siegel owns the Westgate Resorts in Vegas, where he hosts 3 pageants there at the same time. He does one 3 days, right? So the Miss, the Young Girls, another. So he has 3 pageants there in a row. He hosts us all. He pays for all our rooms. He just hosts us. So he created this foundation with his wife when their daughter passed away in 2018 of a drug overdose. Right. So I believe she was 18. I'm not really sure exactly, but she was a teenager. And so for me, having a substance abuse mother, when I heard about this foundation, and so much has been done since back in my day, as far as knowledge, that was kind of hush hush back then. Like if you had a drug addicted sister, brother, someone who was a substance abuser, alcohol, you kind of you brushed it, right? Oh, don't tell anybody, right? And now it's just like, you got to tell people, because then those people can help them. And there's just more resources, I think, there for families now. and what to watch out for. And you can't, oh, not my kid, not my daughter. You can't look at that the way we did in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, right? These things exist, right? So this foundation is all about education and being ready when these things do happen to your family. And it can happen. Doesn't matter the money in your bank. Really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're poor. People say, oh, the drug problem is a poor people problem. No, it's an everybody problem, right? And so I think it's a great foundation. And so we're doing a fundraiser on July 29th to raise awareness for this foundation, also raise money for it as well. And then in light of that, we're in how Jim, another part where Jim gets involved, we're doing a battle of the bands, kid style. I call it Kid Rock. So we're asking kids ages 8 to 18 from the state of Connecticut, if you have a little band, or even if it's 2 kids, whatever it is, send videos over to Jim, and we'll have like the top 2 winners come to our fundraiser and play a little something. And then we were kind of talking with a DJ friend of Jim's that I met, and we're like, this would be kind of nice to do this every year, right? Like, here we go.
Because again,
it just continues on.
It's one of those things. Addiction can start very, very, very young, and Liza knows. I think I can speak for her again when say big advocate of the arts. If you can get a child involved in music, involved in art, fitness, literature, whatever, you can literally save a life by introducing them to a world of something that they never knew before. And the what comes along with this is that to put these kids on social media, to show what they can do, to open the door for them. Maybe they'll have later in life that will open for them. You don't know what difference you're going to make in someone's life until you do something like this. And I myself, I was in high school, then I got into this program in the arts, and had that not happened, we would not be having the conversations we've had so many numerous times. So I feel extremely blessed to be part of this, and just to give these kids a voice too, and because it's something that they'll remember, hey, what did I do this summer, and to have that, and maybe next year, if they want to compete when they're older, and say, hey, the reigning champion can compete again, just like the pageant, but have it be music based, which I know nothing about at all. I'm being sarcastic, but
the queen, yeah.
Jim knows nothing about music. I don't know what he's talking.
Nothing whatsoever. I mean, but it's gonna be a great time, and we've got local dignitaries.
We're gonna have to play your song though. I had a teenager dancing to it in my studio today.
You're kidding?
Nope. She was like, doo-doo-doo. It was like 7:00 in the morning. I'm playing your song.
Wow.
Now you see, that makes me happy because I don't know who's listening to what.
Yeah, awesome.
I post it on my social media. I play it in all my classes. It's my friend Jim's music.
That's great.
I'm a crazy.
See, now this inspires me to put more dance and stuff out there, so I can now market out to a whole new. Now I just learned something. Now, got to go back in the woodshed and crank out some more stuff.
Yeah, trying to help you out.
Liza, did the movie Beautiful with Minnie Driver, did that inspire you at all?
No, I mean, I'm trying to remember the movie.
Minnie Driver during that time.
I just, here's and my husband yells at me all the time. I'll watch a movie, and then I'll watch it again. And I'm like, I thought I saw this movie. I have like movie and when you forget your memory, right? I don't remember the movie after I've seen it. Like I've watched The Godfather like 7 times, and I
like
feel
Miss
like
Congeniality with Sandra Bullock. That's also another pageant movie.
oh yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
nothing really.
that's kind of more her speed.
Right. And how about Drop Dead Gorgeous? Right. I just watched that one. That was a crazy, crazy, crazy movie. There was a series about pageants where she was killing people. But to me, I didn't think of a pageant at 50 years old. Yeah, so no, I wouldn't say any movie in particular inspired me because I didn't think any of this was in my wheelhouse. Right? It just kind of, like I said, in my lap, and like I said, I was home recovering from a surgery that I had and got this diagnosis of a heart thing. I was kind of like, feeling a little like having a little pity party, right? Just for myself, right? I was getting over it. She's like, "Why don't you go do a pageant?" Okay, sure.
You know though, I think as we get older, people want to say, I think our generation, our generation Gen X, ours was the best, and everybody after that, forget it. But
Yeah, well,
as you get older, you acquire and learn things, but you don't really get a chance to ignite the fire that needs to get lit, because unless you're a musician and you do this, or you're an artist and you do this, or you really try to push yourself to get on these media contacts, you really don't have a say. I mean, it's just your thoughts kind of stay dormant, and you end up staying stagnant, and you're like, well, I had a great idea, but oh well, and I think that's what's great about. Of course, I'm just maybe a year younger, but that's okay. When I get to 50, I'll have my whole bucket list of goals and everything else. No, but seriously though, I mean, I think everyone should have the set of goals and the mindset that Liza truly has, because it's like, again, you can ease the stress and the anxiety and forego all the nonsense in life just by keeping your mind and your body healthy. Again, you don't have to have muscles out to here to be healthy. Of course, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, my husband, we were talking to the kids back in December. I remember he's talking to my daughter, and she's dating this really nice boy, and he was trying to encourage them because they're both kind of shy and quiet. And he said to them, they're both stellar athletes. And it's not his quote, obviously, but he said to them, and I use it: you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And that carries you in anything that you can possibly do, anything. And sometimes things are uncomfortable. Is it hard? Yes. It will take me a while, or this or that, to get there. Is there challenges? Is there obstacles? Do I give up? No. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's a motto that everyone should take, because if people think if it's not easy, then it's not worth it. Or if it's not easy, then it's going to be too hard. Well, yeah, life is hard. Everything's hard. Guess what? Be comfortable being uncomfortable, because and then you get over the edge of it all. And believe me, I have bad days, and everyone thinks, oh, you're such a morning person, or oh my God, you're always in a good mood. No, but if I go out that way, right, I start my day at like 5:30 in the morning, right? I get up at 5, I go teach class. People are like, oh my God, you're a morning person. Oh, hell no. But on Sunday, when I don't have to get up, sleepy. I'm not one of these people that just wake up at 5 because I have to wake up at 5 all week. Oh no, I'm not a morning person, right? They feel like, oh my God, you're always in a good mood. What other choice do I have? Be in a bad mood? How am I going to motivate you if you're in a bad mood? Do I get in a bad mood? Sure. I'm a woman. I'm in, this time of, 50, so you can understand what, women go through at this age, right? So can I get crabby? Yeah. But you know what? Be comfortable being uncomfortable, because tomorrow's a new day. Today may not be a great day, but tomorrow may be wonderful.
What do you think has more success to when you approach a mountain? To climb the mountain, go through the mountain, or around the mountain?
Well, you're talking to a fitness person. I'm going to climb the mountain, right? Because to me, going around the mountain, what do you? You're going around the situation. You're taking the easy route. You may learn something taking the hard route, and that's for me. You may learn something about yourself, and you may learn how strong you are. And some people go through it in any situation thinking, "Oh, I'm not strong enough, so I'm going to do it this way," right? So that's really kind of what that's about for me. I'm going to climb the mountain. I may learn something along the way, and then I realize how strong I am doing that task, and then that'll take me to the next one. And that's why I think what happens to me, right? I go for the next one and the next one and the next one, and I try not to take the easy route because then that your life becomes that easy route, I think, and then you're not motivated to do better for yourself, like we talked about earlier.
What about you, Jim? Would you climb the mountain, go around the mountain, or through the mountain?
Even though fear of heights is bad, you know.
All right, think about. All right, I'm gonna grab you by your shirt, Jim. Damn it! I guess we're going up.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I can actually answer this. There was a time that we had gone hiking.
I knew you were gonna bring that up as soon as I said it.
Yep, and I remember.
That day, right? Yep.
I thought I'm like I'm gonna die. I'm literally gonna die. And she's walking down and going like this, and I'm like I just don't have the shoes for. I'm gonna die. But when we got to the bottom of the we got back to the bottom of the hill, the mountain, whatever you want to call it. I threw a rock at her car. No. It was. I was glad that I did it. Yeah. Honestly.
He was. Oh my God, he did not want to go. I'm like, you're going. That's it. Let's go.
That is the God honest truth.
Yeah.
And I was scared because it's something that I wasn't comfortable with and wasn't comfortable doing. And again, that's when you step outside of that comfort zone and you go, "Ooh, this is kind of new. This is kind of exciting." Or, I mean, you could still get worked up about it, but it's chilling out in that moment. It was that moment when she yelled at the top of her lungs, and I can't repeat it, although I'd like to. It was just like just cut it.
Cut
just
the crap,
do it.
Go.
Yeah.
And he did it. You did it with a lot of things. Like to me, and it's all about really surrounding yourself with your tribe, right? Surrounding yourself with the people that are going to motivate you, right? So there's been a couple times, like I remember the driving. He had stopped driving for a while, and I'm like, and I made him drive one day, and he was pissed. And I said, "Look, you did it." The thing with his mom was hard. We lost his mom. And sometimes you go through things, trials and tribulations in your own mind. You psych yourself out of things, right? And you need your tribe to tell you, all right, let's go. And my biggest tribe member is my husband. I love him. Go. You can do this. It was my husband who really got me to do the
So now the obvious question I know that Chris wants to ask is five favorite bands or artists. Go.
I got one number one band. Of all time, and don't argue with me which one that I like. I like Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, and that's the end of it. I'm not answering any more questions about that one because I love them. Right? Coldplay, The Script. I'm sorry, I'm gonna add her to the list. Madonna, she's one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, she almost died the other day, actually.
Favorites. I love, and they're corny as all hell. I love The Wanted. I love them. They're so corny.
What do you
But
think
I
of
think
Saya?
Hmm?
What do you think of Saya?
What do I think of her? So she has that song Unstoppable. So when I'm in a mood and I feel like I cannot do something,
I'm unstoppable.
that and I love how it sounds in my car. I turn that right on. So I actually made a playlist for the pageant room, like behind stage, and I started with that song, Unstoppable. Liza Lee.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm one of those really corny music people. I have playlists for any mood.
That's awesome.
I do. I'm a music girl by heart, for sure, 100%. And it varies, right? And my kids are becoming the same way. Like my daughter can have a rap song and a country song in the same playlist. I'm like, what is? How do you have Virginia with like a rap song? Like I don't even know what's going on. Yeah, love it. We're the music house, and you never know what's gonna play when you come in the kitchen. Like really, you just don't. It's insane. So it's hard to really even say what favorite bands, but definitely Van Halen, Coldplay, and The Script are my top three.
What about you, Jim? What about your bands?
Well, if we have to go,
Okay, guys.
what?
No. I was just thinking, there's so many bands that I like, right?
Oh God, that's like asking me. Jeez. Okay. Okay.
Right.
So if I really had to pick a top five, which
so
does not really exist,
yeah,
got to go with Chicago.
Oh, you're my husband for sure.
Good choice.
Give me a second. This may take 3 hours. Chicago, Motley Crue.
I did see him in concert though.
I mean,
I like Lincoln Park too. I forgot about that one. Lincoln Park.
Whitney.
All over the place. My music choices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling from every genre. I mean, of course, I like listen to my own stuff. So,
well, why I just call it? You know which one I used to always love too is, and I saw him in concert. Stone Temple Pilots. I love them.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm a crackpot for sure. Oh, you know what? Props. I love Pat Benatar. Yeah, there's no way I can go on forever on this topic.
But that's what makes it, that's how you know. That's how you know. I think, and how I've always been able to judge a person. First thing I asked my wife before I met her.
Can I see your Spotify?
Yeah. Can I see your Spotify? Can I see your playlist?
Let me see them.
Yep.
Nope, can't be friends. Sorry. Very nice to meet you. Can't be friends.
Yeah, and if there's only like, oh, I only listen to 2 artists, like, no, this relationship is just not going to work. I'm sorry.
Right. So I'll let people at work, like this happened yesterday at work. Liza, can you share that playlist with me? Because I'll make up all these playlists for work. And I'm like, boom, sent. And I share my playlist with like everybody. People are like, I need that playlist. And I have a playlist from like I said, like a Linkin Park playlist to a 60s playlist to a, oh my gosh, it's all everywhere in between. I love music.
Well, mine would be like Billy Joel, Imagine Dragons. I like Panic at the Disco.
Yep.
And I like single artists like I love. Actually, I'm a Swiftie myself. Don't tell anybody that, but people will know anyway when they hear this.
Right.
So
Sting.
James Norkovich, of course, but
Oh, you mean that person? Oh, I don't know.
That one. That guy.
Yeah.
Start playing it.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to seeing you and working together in this amazing thing, and going to come up with some great product in the end. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Maybe I can sing again.
Hope so.
Yeah, that's where you're going to see her panic.
This is James Norkowitz. It's in there, I think. This is James.
Oh.
And my my playlist in my library. Right under Chick Rock. Lita Ford, come on. Lita Ford.
I love Lita.
Lita
Yeah,
Ford is
you
best
amaze me.
bassist ever. Yep.
Love
Oh
it,
my
love
God.
it.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
dating
thinking of taking up the
ourselves.
bass guitar actually.
Yeah.
But
Totally
you have to enjoy it. You can't just say I'm going to take up an instrument and pick it up and start playing, and then suddenly after like 2 or 3 lessons you give up. Like if you're going to do something, you got to follow through with it, you
Do
know?
it. Just do it.
Yeah. I
But
think
it's gotta be your passion, right? You can't just play it to say, "Oh, I'm going to play it."
I mean, like I asked this other question to me. I asked Jim the same question. I said, "Is there any time in your life that you just wanted to give up?"
I don't have that many fingers. Yeah, for sure. No, seriously. Everyone thinks I'm just so positive, but there's no way. 100%. I've been through so much in my life, right? From childhood, adulthood, divorce,
Wow.
onward, right? Guess what? There's times you're like, oh, God, this is ridiculous. Then you go, then you get up, you dust yourself off, you know. But sometimes you do, like I said, when you talk about needing a tribe, sometimes you need a tribe. And I feel like I didn't always pick well in my tribe. I try to surround myself with people that I can help, but then who helps you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's sometimes it's hard, right? You got to pick your tribe wisely because sometimes you're the one always doing.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself in a situation recently, same thing. Wait a minute, I'm giving, and it's not the giving. People don't realize it's not I'm giving you stuff, right? Clothes, money, food. No, it's you're giving of yourself, and people don't even understand that. What do you mean? I do stuff for you. And no, you're not getting it. Forget it.
Wow.
Right. So it's finding the people that motivate you. I'm the type of person that I can do it myself, right? Right. So that's where my husband comes in.
That's so inspirational. Wow.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong in asking for help.
Right.
And,
right. But I didn't like to, right? Because then they may say no.
Oh yeah, because you end up losing control too.
Right. When you're abandoned by your mother, I didn't even realize I was doing this. Right. Sometimes you don't realize the things that you do. Right. So my husband and I will talk now. We'll have conversations. He's like, I saw your abandonment issues from the get-go. Why? Like I said, he knew how that felt, but I didn't know that's what was my issue. Right. Because I was like, I don't need her. I don't need a mother. I don't need her. Right. But he figured it out. And so all the things that I've done over the years,
mm-hmm.
right? Not letting people in, or I'll do it myself. I mean, even anyone in my family will tell you any story of me as a kid. I'm like, I don't need anybody. I got it. For myself.
Wow.
I would go play in my grandmother's basement. She's like, should we be worried about her? I don't need nobody. Like, I'd have friends come over too, but like, I'm like, I don't need anybody. And then here's the funny part. I met my husband, and I let him in. He let me in. Then I needed somebody. Oh, that's hard. You don't realize needing somebody until you really, really, truly do. And I need my husband, and I love him with all my heart, but I need him, and I didn't realize that until 10
Did you
years
love
ago.
your first husband with your heart too?
No. I loved who, he was, but I didn't realize there was a difference, right? Because how would you know that? You think you love somebody. I think sometimes you love the thought of loving them, right? Or you needed them for this or this or this, right? So I can't say with my heart, like, because some people get divorced and like, oh, I'll always love and not that I don't care about him, right? He's the father of my children, and that I'll give him respect for. But I didn't love him like the way I love my husband. And I don't think people really realize that until they go over to the other side. They say the grass isn't greener. Well, my grass is lush over here, right? But it's really what you put into it, right? And so my ex-husband wasn't putting in, like, so say grass isn't greener, right? He wasn't taking care of the lawn, right? He wasn't mowing it and keeping it green and watering it and doing the things that you need to do to keep the grass green. right? But my husband does, and I do, right? So that makes a big difference. And then you don't, how can you love somebody who wouldn't go to the ends of the earth for you? My husband's like, I'd die for you. I'd die for those children. Those children aren't even his. I would die for those children. I would step in front of a car for those kids. And he'll tell anybody. He'll tell his own kids though. And he'll do it for his own kids. He's like, your kids are just as important as my own kids. He's like, I would die for them. You know? So that's love. That, and at it, I had no idea what that was. No clue.
And I'm so happy that she listened to me when she asked me.
It was a little scary, right?
So what do you think of him? I said.
Oh, what do you think? I showed him a picture. He's got guns. He says.
I'm like,
my husband's got nice arms, but and I'm like, really? I wasn't even looking at that. Like, it didn't even occur to me to look at it.
But
I don't know why.
He's the coolest guy that you honestly, seriously ever want to meet. And you know, I just from day one, it was like, I'm like, yeah. This is the guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is the guy.
I was right.
And he's corny. And he's corny. He loves corny. That's a big thing for me. Like, in all this pageant business, I'm corny. Like, so anything, like whether it's a song that makes something corny, or I'll decorate the house for everything, and somebody's birthday, and I don't care who you are. If Jim says, my birthday's on Thursday and he's coming over on Tuesday, guess what? We're doing something because I'm corny. And that was the one thing that I knew I wasn't meant to be with my ex-husband, because like when the kids are little, like you have little kids, right? And they do like an I love dad mug, or, little stupid stuff like that. It's corny. That's kind of like the fun thing about being a parent, right? And he said to me, I remember being in this hallway right here, and I remember like it was yesterday. He said, stop buying me this SHIT. I don't want it. And I was like, the kids were like 4 and 2, I think. And I was like, I don't even understand those words. I'm just going to walk away. And my husband now, Jason, he's like, he always says to everybody, I love the corn. He calls it the corn. I love the corn. And, he's, remember, Gambino, right? So you can imagine, he's this Italian, big-shouldered, crew cut from the military still, 100 years later. Would you never think it? He is the mushiest, corniest guy. He's still tough, and he will protect his family. But I'm telling you, loves the corn.
Liza, a couple more questions for you. So what's your diet like?
So it's not as hard as people think, right? But the two biggest mistakes that people make, and as I'm a woman, I've made them, right, is eating clean, which people do not always realize what that means, right? So you hear that a lot, right? And so people will say to me all the time, oh, I eat good. I don't know why I gained 20 pounds. Okay, right? That's number one. Eating clean. So try to stay away from the middle of the grocery store, and try to eat like a caveman. Eat like a caveman. Your meats, your fishes, your vegetables, right? Maybe some beans in there, right? But eat
no fruit.
Real food. What'd you say?
No fruit?
Oh yeah, fruit, but like the outside of your grocery store, right? Your produce, your meat, right? You have a little, you have some carbs. I'm not saying I don't have carbs. Potatoes, sweet potatoes. We have some rice, quinoa. The other biggest thing that I think women definitely have an issue with this, and some men not getting enough protein. And I think the more protein that I do consume, the better shape I'm in, because your body needs that, right? And yes, you still need carbs. Do I eat carbs? Of course I do. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous thing, right? But it's because diets are one thing. So remember, diet. The first 3 letters in diet. Right? Diets are hard, right? They're hard, right? I'm a woman, right? I was an overweight child, right? Let me tell you something. Diets are hard, right? But they're only supposed to be for short periods. Whether, like I said, the keto or different things, and people try stuff. But the problem is sometimes it screws things up along the way, right? So for me, now back in the day, right, before keto was keto, it was Atkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I tried that Atkins. Atkins was no good for me, right? I did it for like 2 days, right? Your body needs certain things. Does it need a cheeseburger and French fries? Probably not, right? But does it need that protein? Does it need a vegetable and a carb? Yeah, right? So protein. Most people, I'm going to tell you, I don't care how good you think you eat. Most people do not eat enough protein. And my daughter is now just did her first bodybuilding show, and she'll tell you the same thing. She's 18 years old, cut as they come. Now she had a good, she's been fit her whole life, but protein, not overbearing protein, right? Because you need other things, but getting enough in your diet and balancing. So that's eat clean, get enough protein, water, lots of water.
Well, I have chicken, salad, avocados. I've just started having kiwi fruit, bananas, and then I have chicken once or twice a week. And with ketos, low carb and high fat, right? And that actually, it works. It actually attributed to my weight loss and also not doing sugar, getting rid of salt. So yeah, I mean, like went from 223 to 189, not bad.
Right. It's awesome. Love it. I love the stories. I love, and everybody, and you got to remember though, every body is different, right? So you can do that keto diet and then Jim can do it and it won't work for him, right? And so I always tell people you have to find, and based on your blood type too. I mean, I went to school for nutrition, so it's all based on your blood type a little bit too. So what works for me is O may not work for someone who's B, may not work for a man who's B or O. Like everybody's body's a little different, right? And so certain things work well for other people. So you got to keep that in mind. So when I'm trying to help people with diets, all right, so give me your medical background, things like that, where certain things don't work well for other people.
Listen to her, Jim. They're going to ask you about diet.
Hey, I got to run. I think I'm going to do salmon, some couscous, some squash, and then I'll cheat by having some iced tea.
He loves his sugary drinks. Always has.
Hey, I did quit Mountain Dew. That stuff was horrible.
Yeah, I tried it twice and I didn't like it. So I have carbonated water. I can't have soft drinks anymore. So I have carbonated water, which is just as good. Yeah. And bulletproof coffee, if you know what bulletproof coffee is. And coffee does taste really delicious when you put cinnamon and melted butter in there. Sometimes MCT oil. Tastes just like cappuccino. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, you're missing out.
I'll have an occasional little something with my husband every once in a blue moon, but I'm not really a big coffee person. My grandmother used to give me tea when I was a child. Now she had a pot of coffee brewing 24/7.
Wow. Do you believe in God, and does your faith in God affect the way you live your life?
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Love it.
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I met my husband, I had a good friend that just passed away about trying to think now, that year earlier. So I was sitting in the car one night, frustrated about getting divorced and what happened. I sat in the car and I talked to my friend who had died, right? And I said, "You got to give me a sign. What do I do? I don't know what to do." And so I gave him some choices based on music. I said, the next time I hear music, if I hear this song, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And the third, and I just said to him, I don't know why I said this. Wait till May. This is like relationships. Do I date? Do I go online? What do I do? And it said, wait till May. It was March. And I don't know why, and I wrote it down. Now, in those days, I had my phone on super lock because he was dating and I was going through divorce. So I grab my phone, I grab my keys, I get out of my car, I roll in the house, I open the door, my phone starts playing a song. Now I pick up my phone and it's black. It's not on, and I go like this, it's not, nothing.
Whoa.
And I started playing the song, Wait Till May. When did I meet my husband?
May.
Didn't even understand what happened because then I met him. I didn't even remember. And then I'm in his bedroom and the song comes on like the radio. or whatever, like on whatever we were listening to, and the song came on. It was Dark Horse, and
Oh my
I was
God.
like, oh my God, it's May. But I became very spiritual there for a while. Like I felt I'm all into the energy. I'm into the afterlife. I feel like everyone's looking on, where you go somewhere, right? So I think all of God's people are still there looking out for us, right?
So
They're like
should
the
I do
angels.
what you did in order to meet my second wife?
Go talk to an angel. My friend Ray, I talked to Ray, my angel friend. So I believe he sent me, my husband because they are super alike.
Hmm.
Yeah, they like the same music.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
I can go on forever. But yeah, for sure I believe there's a God, I believe that there's angels, I believe in the afterlife, I believe that we're here for a purpose, and I believe if we don't get it right, we're coming right back to try it again.
Oh, I see. So you're one of those. Okay.
Yeah, well, again, that's another podcast. Yeah, but I do believe in God, and I believe that you have to look to a higher power, especially now in today's world, with everything that happened with COVID. And if you look at my old posts, I was like, what happened to God and country? I have a military grandfather that I grew up with, and my husband's military. God and country. You care for yourselves, and you care for others.
Yeah. That's true.
God and country. That's
Jim,
my
listen
story,
to
and
her.
I'm sticking to it.
What's that again?
You listen to her.
God and country.
Yeah. No, I'm divorced, so I haven't met anybody that I could marry again because there's so many things. It's not like I'm going to go into a first date and okay. So, do you have a job? Okay, check mark. Okay, I'm not going to ask 10 questions, 20 questions. Say, okay, I've asked you 100 questions. You got 2 wrong. There's no perfect. I'm just saying,
No.
there's got to be chemistry there. Did you instantly feel chemistry with your second husband? Yeah.
It's like that. Yeah.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
How long were you single in between both? Mind me asking.
I was single like 6 months.
Only 6 months? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wait a minute. October to May?
Wow.
Yeah.
6 months.
That's the same with my
8
wife.
months, 8 months, whatever. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 8 months. 8 months.
8 months. Wow.
Wait a minute. When was it in October?
I broke up on my husband on his birthday.
When's his birthday?
October 7th.
Oh, that's another podcast.
Rotating. I met my husband online.
Online. I tell people I'm never going to meet anybody online again. Doesn't work.
Oh.
I have a bunch of friends. They're all married online because you learn about them. It's almost like speed dating, but in 5 seconds.
Okay, Chris. She said while we're doing photo shoots, okay, she goes, "You need to get online."
Oh yeah.
So I did.
You want to listen to me though?
No, but yeah.
You can.
And
Married.
You didn't tell me you met your wife online. You just told me you met your wife. You didn't tell me where. You met her online?
yeah.
Oh, wow. I met my wife online. Didn't work at all.
Somebody wasn't truthful.
I think I was maybe rushing it and desperate. Didn't you go through more than one man before you met him, or was he the first one you saw?
Shut up, Jim. Just leave it alone. Next question.
Oh, secret there. Oh.
Jim was the phone call I made every night. So this is what happened on this date.
Oh, wow.
I should write a
Wow,
book
I'm
on
learning
that
a
one.
lot more about Jim every day. Nice.
Every night. All right, Jim, here's what happened.
All right. Well.
It was interesting. Just stop it and leave it alone. But I told my
Yeah.
husband everything. So honestly, if they say anything, I told him that's the key to a good relationship. Make sure your
True.
spouse knows everything about you, even the bad stuff. Because if they find out and you kept it from them, no good. I know everything about my husband. Now, there's probably some things I wish I didn't know, but
Is that a good thing though?
yes, because here's why, and here's the one reason why, and this is why we did it. Because so say there's a situation that comes up, and you're like, why is he or she acting like this, or why did this situation bother them? That's kind of silly, right, to me. But if you know something that's happened to them, I used to be like, so I would sometimes sit back and go, oh, right, he may have had a memory or thing that came up for him where in an everyday situation you wouldn't know that, right? So if something happens between him and I'm like, now I know why he's angry, right? And it used to piss him off sometimes too. He'd be like, I'd be like, what's wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? 20 minutes later, I'd be like, blah, 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 and he's like, how did you even figure that out? I was listening. I know everything about you now, right? So now, believe me, he would sometimes deny it to me. He'd be like, no, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. The next day on the phone, you're right. Right? But if you really listen, not listen to the words, listen especially when they tell you these things, right? You really learn a person how they tick, right? And it's not about, oh, I know everything about them, right? I know all their secrets. No, it's about situations that come up, work, family, kids, stress. You know what their good and their bad days look like, and then you can figure out how to move forward the next day, right? Is it a perfect science? No, of course not. Nothing ever is, but at least you understand them a little bit better, right? So something that would bother him, and I'd be like, why is he upset about nothing? But then I'm like, so it is good I think it's good to know everything about somebody because it makes you understand future situations. I really, really do. It's hard telling someone everything.
It's true.
He knows literally everything. Like like the first 3 months, it was a little stressful, but it was like diarrhea of the mouth for like 3 months. We literally told every bad thing we've ever done and said and did and dated. Yep, from my boyfriend at 16 to all the way to my husband. And after that,
Am I allowed to keep this? Don't want to delete this stuff. Can I put this up? Can I keep it? Oh, yes. Excellent. Love it.
you can just do a little segments. We do this again. Dating with maybe I should do that. Relationship podcast.
I love to do this again.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny that she mentioned, because, I was in an car accident in 2009. So, like, you wonder if somebody's going to accept you for who you are, what you can do and cannot do, and things like that. So, I remember we totally hit it off, right? And that was like Memorial Day weekend, I think. That's when I went to the restaurant, had a double date, and then that's the last time we seen each other. It was literally 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the funny part was that my wife's sons were headed back from their dad's house, and I was like, she was worried, so worried, and I'm like, they'll be fine. So I was like, well, I think I was asking what you're doing, and like, oh yeah, we were able to catch a ride from you, and then I was like, I just threw you under the bus. I'm like, I'll deal with this. I'll take care of this. I got this. Well, because she had got me pumped and said, hey, just go with it. And 9 years later, everything is.
We're both married to these people that we met that weekend.
It's hard to believe, huh?
I know, it's crazy.
And then who would think 9 years later, where all this is just come like whole 360. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good time. Get the band together again.
How many
Band
people in this
together
band?
again.
In their wheelchairs or?
No way, man. The wheelchairs over here. You got
Yeah.
this covered.
Well,
Where's my chicken?
Well, this is great. I love this. Thank you very much, Liza, for.
Thank you. It's been great, Chris. Thank you so
No,
much.
I love it. And thank
that.
you, James. Thank you, Jim, for being my co-host for tonight. Really appreciate that, and I had fun. Everyone, Liza Lee Gioni Gambino, Mrs. CT American, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And James A. Norkowicz, musician, composer, good friend of mine, co-host for tonight. Good night, everyone.